Hey everyone, this is Z from yet another tech channel, and in this video I'll be reviewing a Huawei P8. And it's not a review sample that I got to play with for a week or so. I actually bought the phone about 3 months ago and used it as my one and only daily driver ever since. So with that out of the way, let's move on to the review. P8 was released in April and was at that time Huawei's flagship smartphone. And even though the company has since then released a new device, the Honor 7 to be exact, I still believe the P8 is worth considering. A quick glance at specs reveals a 5.2 inches Full HD screen, Cortex A53 8-core CPU, 3 GB of RAM, 16 or 64 GB of internal memory with microSD card slot for expandability, Mali T628 GPU, 2680 mAh battery, 13 megapixels camera with optical image stabilization, and all that in this very solid aluminum body. And while we're at it, saying that the P8 is aesthetically pleasing would be an understatement because the phone looks absolutely beautiful. The corners are curved at just the right angle and the edge is rounded for a more comfortable grip. There's headphones jack, a noise cancelling mic on the top, volume rocker, power button, SIM card and microSD card trays on the right edge, and micro USB port and speaker grills on the bottom. The phone measures almost 145mm by 72.1mm by 6.4mm, which makes it pretty large, and coming from an already kind of bulky Lumia 920, I was really concerned that the P8 will be simply too big, especially given my relatively small hands. Fortunately, this wasn't the case, and to help out those with smaller palms, Huawei implemented a one-hand operation mode, something I first saw in Samsung Galaxy S5. It basically shrinks the whole screen and aligns it to either edge so you can use it with just one hand, which does help a bit. Now let's talk about the display. It measures 5.2 inches with a reasonable 71.4% body to screen ratio. Full HD resolution and 424 pixel density add up to a very crisp image, which makes looking at pictures and watching videos an absolute pleasure. The phone runs Android 5.01 with Huawei's Emotion UI 3.1 add-on. I'd prefer stock Android, but the Emotion UI does have some pretty useful features which I'll cover in a separate video. The UI is responsive with all animations remaining fluid, even when there's a bunch of apps opened. The main camera features 30 megapixel sensor, optical image stabilization, and dual LED flash. It takes decent pictures in daylight but struggles in low light like pretty much any other smartphone camera. The camera app itself lacks proper manual mode and you have to dig deep to get to exposure adjustment settings and whatnot. It really makes me miss my Lumia. The front 8 megapixel snapper is good for video calls and an occasional selfie with world cycling champion as long as there is enough light. When it comes to performance, I can't complain, but I hardly ever play games on my phone, and this particular CPU and GPU combination is good enough for anything I throw towards it. 3 GB of RAM sure comes in handy, as it enables P8 to handle multitasking very well. 2680 mAh battery provides just enough juice to power the phone for 2 days of moderate usage. Even when using extensively, you shouldn't have a problem with getting through the day. This is also thanks to Huawei's power management feature, which monitors the system and prompts you with alerts of apps running in the background. Once the battery level drops to 10%, the phone switches to extreme power saving mode, so the essential functions, which are texting and calling, remain available for as long as possible. Now onto the bad things. The biggest disappointment would be the wireless module, which operates on 2.4 GHz, and even though being 802.11n compliant, 55 megabits per second is all I can get when connected to my Asus ROG AC68U wireless router. Another one is that you have to actually unlock the phone to change the volume of the ringtone, and there's this lag in the feedback sound when changing the volume level. The last one is that when you lock the phone and immediately afterwards you press the power button again to wake it up, whatever was on the screen flashes before the lock screen is displayed. Not a big deal, but still noticeable. So if you're in the market for a well-performing and good-looking Android device, look no further. The P8 has it all. And when you get one, make sure to check out my other videos featuring different cover options for the P8. Well, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.